No eggs? No butter or margarine? Hello, I bet you will finish this cake even when it is still hot. If you haven't tasted hot cake before, this will be your first try. So guys, let me quickly show you how I made this. It was yummy. You are welcome. We'll start by greasing our cake pan. This is a tradition you shouldn't miss. Grease your pan and, of course, sprinkle some flour. This is very important. As you may know, greasing your cake pan will help your cake to come off easily by the time you are done. Never miss this step. Grease your pan and then add some flour. It is important you do this earlier because when your batter is ready, you won't have time to grease your pan. So I greased 2 pans. I'll be using one to illustrate to show how you can bake without anything in your pot, especially if you are baking with a pot. This is the flour I used. It is 400 grams. Always measure your ingredients. If you will be using an oven, make sure you start preheating your oven right away. I always sieve my flour. You too should do the same. Sieving your flour will not just incorporate air, it will also help to get rid of lumps. And of course, particles and debts if there is any. Always do this. Sieve your flour, whether you are baking with your flour or you are cooking with flour. Do well to sieve. Next, I added the baking powder. Make sure you measure your baking powder with your baking spoon. It is very important you sieve your baking powder and your baking soda as well. Here is the baking soda. If you don't sieve your baking powder and your baking soda, when you get any lump in your cake, they are always bitter. Look at this. This is a lump. If I hadn't sieved this and you get this in your cake, it will be bitter. Make sure you sieve your baking powder, your baking soda, and of course, ultimately, your flour. I added milk. Next was salt. Salt was just a pinch. Next was sugar. This sugar is a cup and half a cup. Once you are done, you will have to stir properly so that all these ingredients will mix very well. Did you notice all of these ingredients are the dry ingredients? Yes, this is what I did. Add all the dry ingredients together and make sure you mix them properly. It is very important you do this at this stage. Once you are done, you should start heating your pot on low heat if you are using a pot. Remember, if you are using an oven, your oven should have been on before now to preheat. I added vanilla. Since this is eggless vanilla cake, I use vanilla as my flavor. If you would like to add other flavors, go ahead, explore. Next was vegetable oil. This is just a cup. Once I added the vegetable oil and the vanilla, I will stir this to incorporate properly. Make sure everything is well incorporated. At this stage, you will notice that the batter is crumbly, just like bread crumbs. If you notice this, there is no cause for alarm. You are on the right track. Next is to add lukewarm water. Make sure this water is lukewarm. I used 300 mils. Make sure you measure your ingredients just like I said earlier. If you used liquid milk instead of powdered milk, ensure you don't use up to 300 mils of water. Okay? Remember this. So add your water gradually. Don't add all the water at once. For this, I added the water twice. Now I'll be adding the rest of the water and stir properly. Make sure everything is well combined. While adding water, you will notice that the crumbs are gradually disappearing. Make sure you stir properly, kind of folding in. You will get a consistency that is not so light, it is not also so thick. It should just be in between. If you get this kind of consistency, you are good to go. I added vinegar. Vinegar is a natural way to bake your cake if you don't want to use eggs. It is not just good for cakes, even for your cupcakes and muffin recipes. It is important to note that vinegar does not contain fat or protein, but it will still improve the structure and make the cake to rise, just the way an egg would. It will simply create a chemical reaction with the baking soda by releasing carbon dioxide. This will make your cake to rise and even have a fluffy, moist texture. Once you add your vinegar, stir properly. Mix, mix until everything is well incorporated. So this is the secret. So when next you see a recipe that calls for egg, but you don't want to use egg, you can simply substitute every whole egg for a teaspoon of baking soda with a tablespoon of vinegar. Once this is done, I will simply pour this batter into my baking pan. Can you see the reason why you should prepare your baking pan before now? Once you pour your batter into your baking pan, it is ready to be baked. Put this in your oven if you are using an oven. If you are not using an oven, this is what I do. I usually add this before I place my baking pan. You can also use salt, sand, or stone, but I don't find all those ones pleasant. I prefer to place this before placing my baking pan, or I will place my baking pan just like that if my batter is not much. I'll be showing you how I do this in this second pan. My children say this is smally cake. Yes, because I want to illustrate that you can place your baking pan into your pot without adding anything. Just make sure the heat is low and your cake will come out perfectly. Just like this. This didn't take up to 15 minutes and this smally batter was ready. Look at the pot. I didn't add anything. You can omit the salt or sand or even stone because they tend to leave a kind of taste on the cake. Look at the big batter now. I'm testing this. This is after 50 minutes on low heat. You can see my skewer, there is no cake batter. Look at the sides of the cake pan. They are not leaving the cake pan. They are saying they want to come out. This is how you will know that your cake is ready. I will simply take this off the heat and allow it to cool. We couldn't wait for this to cool and we started eating this yum yum. I will simply place a plate on top and then flip. Because I greased my pan, it was easy to come out without any stress. Look at that. Yummy! This was fluffy and moist. You will have to allow this to cool, especially if you will be decorating it. I didn't decorate mine, oh. We finished this even before I remembered to show the other side of this video. I simply cut this and I let this to cool before I know what was up. Almost half of the cake was gone. Believe me when I say this was yummy. Guys, you will love it. If you're a lover of moist cake, this is a goal. Look at that. It was almost half gone before I remembered to show you this. Look at this beauty, guys. It is very soft. You will love this. When you make this recipe, let me know which do you prefer? Your vanilla cake with eggs or your vanilla cake with tart and egg? I bet you will finish this deliciousness before it gets cool. If you also prefer your vanilla cake with butter or margarine or just with oil, let me know. I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.